Hi, this is Katie Tunstall, and I am talking to ateamview.com. I was thinking about her, thinking about me, thinking about us.
I'm here with also guest.
Hi, Arin. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, I'm Victoria Justice, and you're watching. What got you into music?
I was totally obsessed with music from when I was really small, and my mum said that when I was about 6 months old, she was really worried about me because I was screaming louder than everyone else's baby. So I think something was going on right from the start. And then I just got really into playing instruments when I was really young. So even like when I was 4, I'd started to play piano and was just really into music. And it was really all about playing rather than buying records for a long time. I didn't get into buying records until I was about 15 or 16, and that was also when I started playing guitar. So I did like classical training on piano and then on flute, and did all my theory, which I kind of found a little bit boring at times, but I'm really glad I learned it. But really what I ended up doing was teaching myself guitar and how to sing and doing my own thing.
So with that, like, what advice do you have for teenagers or younger kids who want to get into singing?
I would say that learning an instrument is really great. It can just open you up to music and maybe give you, particularly if you want to write your own stuff, it can give you a bit of help in terms of forming a song and knowing which chords you want to use and what kind of rhythm you want to use. It can give you a really good ear, and you can work out how to get the mood of the song. But I don't think you need that. I don't think you have to have that. I think the important thing is sitting and learning an instrument that you really enjoy, or even just finding someone else who plays, and just experimenting and enjoying yourself. And I would say the biggest piece of advice is don't take any advice, because usually someone else's opinion is going to change maybe the thing that's making you different, and I think the thing that makes you different is the really cool part.
All right. And you did some work at Sundance this year. You kind of opened and with one of the movies that was more eco-friendly driven. So what's also some stuff that you've done with that?
I have, for a long time, been really into the environmental movement. I'm a huge nature freak. I totally love animals. I love being outside. I love traveling, seeing the countryside, and my favorite places are really wild, pretty untouched places where people don't live, but if they do live, the landscape is so kind of extreme that they don't change it that much. And I love that harmony where people can coexist in this world without making a mess of it. And it's excited me to try and find ways of doing what I do with less impact, because the music industry on the whole hasn't really paid much attention to it. And bands like Radiohead and artists like Jack Johnson and Neil Young have done a lot, and Bonnie Raitt too. Excuse me. They've done a lot to offer different ways of touring and different ways of doing what we do. And so the one thing that's really exciting for me, which just happened, is I'm married to the drummer in my band, and we just built a solar-powered studio at our house, which is really cool. Just knowing that when we're playing and recording, that all the power is coming from our garden, which is great. And also things like using merch companies that don't use bad quality materials that are made in uneco-friendly ways, and also just getting venues to try and help out to lower their impact when we do our gig on the environment.
Definitely. Well, that's really cool. And so, with that, what are some charities that you kind of support through that?
There's a great charity called Julie's Bicycle, which is a weird name, but it's an amazing charity, and they basically work out scientifically how much the music industry puts out in terms of their carbon footprint. So that's incredibly useful to get like the proper information. I'm also friends with a brilliant woman who runs a botanical sanctuary up in the mountains of Kerala in India. It's called the Girikula Botanical Sanctuary, and that's an amazing place for me to contribute some of my profits, because she's just up there in the mountains. I've been to visit, just collecting the rarest plants in India that are being pushed to extinction through development of the countryside. She's just grabbing these plants and teaching them how to grow somewhere else so that they don't disappear. And it's very small scale, but it's really important work. And Cape Farewell, which is an amazing charity, where I went on a trip with them up to the Arctic with a bunch of other musicians, Jarvis Cocker, Martha Wainwright, Feist. It was Vanessa Carlton. It was really, really cool. Great people. And we went up and we all kind of wrote songs, and artists made artworks, and we all kind of were inspired by the landscape to try and raise awareness about what was going on.
All right.
And what is going on. It continues to, it's an ever-present problem, trying to slow the effect of man on the climate.
So, like, with social networking and talking to fans, which ones do you have, and how do you kind of stay in touch with all your fans?
Well, I was being a complete dinosaur until last year, and just wasn't getting involved with Twitter and Facebook. I kind of didn't get it, and I thought it was really stalky and weird, and that I just couldn't really understand how it worked. And it was so funny because I went into my record label. They said, we really need to explain to you how this works. I was like, oh, okay. And because I didn't use Facebook with my friends either. And so this guy, Tony, at the record label goes, okay, well, you have a Facebook page that we set up for you 3 years ago that you've not done anything with, and you have 60,000 friends. And I was like, I've not even written anything. How can I have 60,000 people following a photograph of me? That's completely weird. And he said, no, it's not weird. It's just people who really like what you do. And he said, you should write something and see what happens. And so I just wrote, testing, can anybody hear me? And I got like a storm of love from around the world, just going, you've finally written on your Facebook page. And it really made me understand that these are, they're really genuinely brilliant ways of getting to know your fans, keeping in touch with them, letting them know what's going on with you, and it's really good fun. And Twitter too, I just find, great fun. Like I had this in LA yesterday, I had this amazing day where I went to visit the set of House MD, which I love the show, and and I just posted up all these pictures of me like in the MRI machine and sitting in the House's chair in his office and stuff. And it's, that kind of thing would have been really difficult to do if I hadn't kind of got into it. So I love it. I really enjoy it.
Awesome. And lastly, when you're writing songs and stuff, what do you kind of use as your formula to make your songs have, I don't know, your little touch, I guess?
Sure. Well, I think an important thing for me when I'm writing a song is to really try and make sure I'm not covering old ground of my own and of other people too, because it's one of the most important things is to try and do something original. But I think really what starts a song off is a line, like a title or one lyric line or one chord change that goes with a certain word that just hooks you in the heart, and you go, oh, that really expresses how I'm feeling about something. And it's a relationship with a twinning of words and music that that you're onto something that's going to lead to a song, and you just follow it. And a lot of the time writing lyrics, it's the first thing that comes that you stick with, because it's coming from a different place. It's not really coming from your conscious head. It's coming from your subconscious, and it's coming from somewhere where these words have been stored and being waiting to be used. And so it's quite a kind of strange experience writing a song. Sometimes some songs suddenly I see, of course I kind of remember it happening, but it's hard to remember writing it. It was sort of so quick, and it just came like I was remembering something rather than making something. So, but I think a lot of it's just giving yourself the headspace to let that happen, and having the confidence to not worry about what people are going to think about it, and just go for it, really, and let it happen.